There they are, the common mullein, growing here in the shade of this Siberian elm, protected from the harsh early spring weather. These are the kind of places we're looking for our first available mullein, hiding in the cracks, facing the southern sun. Mullein leaves are hard to mistake for any other. They're oval shaped, and as you can see, very fuzzy. They're fuzzy to the touch. You can see the fuzz. So these two characteristics make it hard to mistake. The leaves are growing out of a floret from a central axis. Mullein is an incredibly healing plant for the body and the earth. It thrives in places that have been damaged by human impacts or from floods or fires. And it has an incredibly deep taproot that holds onto the earth, grips the soil, and prevents erosion in areas that are experiencing high levels of erosion. The plant produces a lot of organic matter that eventually breaks down and creates soil. So in the areas where it grows, there's a little bit more topsoil than places where there's grass. And over generations, this creates a very fertile soil for other plants to then thrive in. See last year's flower stalks from the common mullein plant. On this hill, covering the landscape, which was a good sign to come look here for spring growth. You see here we have a baby plant. Some of its leaves have been bit by the frost, but it has a lot of health in it. When we're here to collect plants, it's most important that we sit with the plant for a minute and ask it some questions. Find out if it consents to us working with it in a medicinal way, in a healing way. Ask if it is happy and thriving right now, and if now's a good time to collect a little of its medicine. It's also important to ask, has this area been sprayed? So after we sit with it for a minute, I feel affirmed that it's a good time to collect. So I'm going to grab a few leaves off of this plant so as not to harm it. I'm going to leave the really, really little ones to continue growing. I won't take more than a third of the leaves from each mullein plant so that it can continue to thrive where it lives. Obviously, depending on what herb you're working with, these protocols change, but mullein is a very common invasive plant, and so there's really not too much ecological harm that can be done by picking the leaves. So here we have some of the woolly mullein that was collected today for our Plant Allies Mutual Aid project. I'm laying it out in the sun for approximately 1 or 2 days to let it be sanitized by the sun and the air and to begin the curing process. We don't want to let it sit in the sun for too long because it'll get over dry and lose some of its medicinal value. Here in my teapot, I've got some leftover mullein from my harvest last fall, so I'm going to be pouring some water over it. I have roughly 2 or 3 tablespoons in here, this pot, and some boiling hot water. I'm going to let that seep for about 10 minutes. It's really important to filter mullein, especially for people that have allergic reaction to plants. Those hairs that I was showing you earlier can cause a lot of irritation if they get in your throat, especially if you have sensitive skin. So it's now been about 10 minutes. Been brewing the hot respiratory health tonic known as Mullein. The tea is safe herb to drink every day. It's a very mild herb. It's neutral. It doesn't react negatively with really any medications. It's generally agreeable to all types of energy types. So it's a safe tea to drink every day. It helps tone your lungs. It allows for deeper breaths. It helps expel buildup in the lungs, and it's antimicrobial. Be an ally for you. It's easy to pick. It's not ecologically damaging to harvest this plant. It's mild on your body, so you can drink it every day. And in general, it will help to fortify your body and enhance your immune system and your lungs in these times of a lot of issues.